I've been there. You see a flashy 4K gaming clip on YouTube, you click buy now on the cheapest RTX you can find, and a week later you're sitting in front of a stuttering framerate and a power supply that's coughing for air. The regret that follows is all too familiar, especially when you realize the cheap card can't keep up with the latest AI-enhanced titles or the creative workloads you thought it could handle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So the question I keep hearing is, does the ASUS Prime GeForce RTX 5080 OC Edition feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another expensive hype machine? First off, let's talk about the kind of setup most people are pulling together these days. If you've already upgraded to a 1440p or 4K monitor with a high refresh rate, you're probably running a Ryzen 9 or an Intel i9 CPU, and you've got a 850W power supply hanging somewhere under the desk. In that scenario, the RTX 5080 slots right in as the next logical step. It's built for PCIe 5.0, so it can actually use the bandwidth that a modern motherboard is finally offering. The card arrives with a triple fan cooler and an included GPU holder, which means you won't have to improvise a support bracket or worry about sagging on a long PCB. That alone saves a surprising amount of hassle for anyone who's ever seen a graphics card dip and cause a crash during a marathon gaming session. Now, why does that matter beyond the headline numbers? The 16GB of GDDR7 memory is not just a marketing buzzword, it translates into real breathing room when you're working with large texture packs in games like Cyberpunk 2077 or running local AI models for image upscaling. The 30 gigabits per second memory interface pushes data through fast enough that you can actually keep ray-traced reflections on at 4K without the dreaded drop that many mid-range cards suffer from. In practice, I've seen the card hold steady at 120 frames per second in Horizon Forbidden West with DLSS 4 set to ultra performance, which is the sweet spot for gamers who want buttery smoothness without cranking the GPU temperature past 80°C. The AI side of things is where the RTX 5080 starts to feel distinct from the usual gaming-only cards. With 1,827 AI TOPS and 5th-gen Tensor cores, the card can accelerate Adobe Photoshop's neural filters and even run small language model inferences locally. Imagine you're editing a batch of photos for a client and you enable the AI-driven upscaling. The process that used to take minutes on a CPU now finishes in a couple of seconds. For creators who dabble in AI art generators, this card can offload the inference work that would otherwise tax a CPU for hours. It's a practical benefit that you won't notice in a benchmark chart but will feel in your daily workflow. That said, there are trade-offs that make the RTX 5080 a better fit for some users and a less sensible choice for others. The first is power draw. Even though the card is rated for an 850W PSU, the actual consumption under full load can hover around 350W. If you're still on a 650W unit, you'll likely see stability issues or have to upgrade your power supply, which adds $100 $150 to the overall cost. The second trade-off is size. The triple fan design and the extra length of the PCB mean you need a case with at least 320mm clearance and good airflow. Small form factor builds will either have to compromise on cooling or look for a different GPU. Finally, the price point is still premium. You're paying for the cutting-edge memory and AI features, not just raw rasterization horsepower. Who should consider splurging on this card? If you're already planning a high refresh rate 4K gaming rig and you want a future-proof GPU that can also double as an AI accelerator, the RTX 5080 makes sense. It's especially appealing for content creators who need both gaming performance and on-device AI processing, such as video editors using IBIST motion interpolation or photographers leveraging AI upscaling on the fly. The card also shines for enthusiasts who want to experiment with local large language model inference without resorting to a cloud service. Who should skip it? If your primary focus is 1080p or 1440p gaming at medium settings, you'll likely get more bang for your buck with a lower-tier RTX 4070 or a Radeon 7600. Those cards will handle most titles comfortably and will demand far less power and space. Also, if your build is constrained by a small case or an older power supply, the RTX 5080 will introduce more headaches than benefits. In those situations, waiting for a mid-range card that supports DLSS 4 but with a smaller form factor might be wiser. Let's break down the practical strengths one more time. The triple fan cooler, paired with the included GPU holder, gives you confidence that the card will stay level and quiet even during long 4K sessions. The GDDR7 memory and 30 gigabits per second bandwidth keep texture-heavy games running smooth, and the AI cores provide a tangible boost for creative workflows. On the downside, the high power requirement forces you to audit your PSU, the size limits cache choices, and